Dari DAB Pakatan Keadilan. Sebelum saya teruskan ceramah malam ini, saya ingin memperkenalkan saudara seorang veteran politik, saudara Samual. Please stand up. Dia merupakan seorang pengasas parti DAB 46 tahun yang lalu. How are you? Sudah makan belum? Cepat be. So, are you ready? Yes. I know you are ready, but I still want to ask. Ini kalilah, okay. Ini kalilah. Kawan-kawan, saya sudah masuk politik lebih kurang 32 tahun. Tak macam Samuel lah. Tapi tak pernah saya ada satu perasaan yang ini kalilah kita boleh menang Putrajaya. First time in my journey as a politician. First time. I feel very excited. Are you excited? Yeah. 你感到兴奋吗？兴奋。兴奋 is excited 我感到 very 兴奋 very excited because for the first time, yes. Deep down in my heart, we have a chance to win this time. Thanks to the people of Malaysia. Terima kasih rakyat. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt, terima kasih here tonight. 5 years ago, or a little bit before 5 years ago, the lawyers, because Ambiga is coming, that's why I have to talk about Ambiga. Led by Ambiga, Dato' Ambiga, they walk for justice. Do you remember? Yes. And then later on, a group of politicians and activists, including Ronnie Liu, we started a movement called BERSIH. We start to gather the people. Pergi ibu kota. Siapa ada pergi BERSIH? Sila angkat tangan. Bagus. Tepukan bagi sendiri. Sebab itu sangat penting. Because it's a historic moment. And then lepas itu, Maka Sakti, Hindraf. Ada? Tepukan kepada semua orang yang masuk itu Hindraf hari itu. Dan tsunami politik berlaku. Maksud saya, kalau tak ada lawyer jalan-jalan, jangan tengok itu jalan-jalan tak penting tau. Sebab dia jalan-jalan, dia rasa dia sudah bangkit. Lepas tu bersih. Pada masa itu, kalau tak silap saya, ada 80,000 orang. Tetapi pada masa itu, you nampak Melayu sajalah, Cina ada sikit-sikit, India ada sikit-sikit. Lepas tu, Hindraf, India saja pergi. Orang Cina mana? Orang Cina Utara. Tetapi sekarang orang Cina ke, India ke, Melayu ke, semua sama-sama pergi ibu kota ada. Bagus, cukup bagus. So saya rasa, I really think that the people have the awareness of the people is now. Kebangkitan rakyat sudah sampai. Jadi 5 hari bulan 5 tak jauh lagi. Tapi ada orang sudah impatient. Ada? Sudah tidak sabar lagi. Siapa kali ini kali pertama undi? Silakan tangan. Tanya kepada orang-orang semua ini, termasuk anak saya. You know, my son, first time, he's going to vote. He's going to vote. He is very excited. And I asked him, who are you going to vote? Papa, please don't ask this kind of stupid question. Tengok. So I won't ask this kind of questions. I know for a fact, majority of the young people are going to vote for Pakatan Rakyat. Am I right? Majority, berapa persen? How many percent of the first time voters? 100%. Janganlah tipu sama saya. Saya masuk politik sudah lama. Anak Chaswele akan undi kita ke? Tara. Anak Lim Leong Sik, anak Sami Belu undi kita tara. So won't be 99%. Okay, but it's a good percentage. Orang middle age macam saya macam mana? Sila angkat tangan. You undi Pakatan Rakyat menjaga, undi Barisan Nasional. I dare to tell you this, most of the middle age people, majority for Pakatan Rakyat this time. Yes. Orang tua macam mana? Orang tua Pakatan juga. In 2008, for the first time, we have orang tua to vote for opposition parties. Before that, a lot of the orang tua that they don't vote for us. Dia takut apa? Dia takut May 13. Dia takut May 13. Dia takut huru hara. Sebab itu cilaka apa nama Mahathir selalu takutkan orang, selalu takutkan rakyatnya. Cilaka Mahathir kan? Saya panggil dia cilaka boleh tak? Dia betul-betul cilaka. Dia pembohong nombor 1 di Malaysia. Di bawah Mahathir, kita punya Malaysia supposed to have a very bright future. 我们的前途本来是很好的，我们的经济本来很好的， tetapi bawah ini cilaka Mahathir, Malaysia sudah jatuh. Pinjam wang nombor 1 pandai. Tapi kalau ingat Mahathir teruk, kita punya Najib lagi teruk. Setuju? Bukan saya cakap, dia punya anak Mahathir, Marina Mahathir. Dia cakap, ini Najib lebih teruk daripada papa saya. I don't know in what aspects Marina calling Najib worse than the father. But you ask me, I got one reason to tell you. I think you may agree. Do you know what is the national debt now? Some people say 520 over billion. You are partly right, because you haven't included the debt collectively owed by all the GLCs. And the GLCs owe more than 60 billion by now. That means if you put that together, we already owe people 600 billion. And then you know what? Mahathir, you think is very bad, huh? And then the Abdullah likes to sleep. Not so bad, lah. Together, okay? From the first Prime Minister, of course our first one, very good, huh? They started to borrow and borrow and borrow. I was told that together they borrow around 280 billion. All these past prime ministers. But this current one, less than 5 years, can you believe? Less than 5 years, he has borrowed more than 250 billion. Cilaka punya Najib. Cilaka juga. Dia punya bini punya cerita semua orang tahu, saya tak boleh cakap. Ini apa ni? Semua itu saya tak boleh cakap. Don't waste time on the Mrs. Cincin or Mrs. Handbag. Don't waste time. You think of Rosma, you think of who? You think of Mrs. Marcos. Same standard. Itu kasut banyak kan? Same standard lah. Don't talk about them anymore. Maybe we stop talking about them, okay? But these people together, they on our behalf, they borrow so much money, unnecessary. Even the Prim 1, Prim 2 and all that, guess where the money come from? Dia pinjam tau. Dia bukan macam Pakatan Rakyat di Selangor, kita ada extra, kita ada reserve, baru kita bagi rakyat kan? Karena bukan. Prim 1 dia borrow from EPF. Prim 2 they dare not tell us. Prim 1 they borrow all the money from EPF. EPF punya wang bukan papa dia punya wang kan? Kita punya wang tau. Yang ada kerja, yang ada buat bisnes, kita punya wang. Dia borrow. Second Prim itu tak tahu dari mana. Tentu sekali bukan papa dia wang lah. So we are under a very terrible leadership or management. Malaysia is supposed to be richer than most of the countries nearby. 20 over years ago, we actually richer than Koreans and the Taiwanese. Am I right? More than 20 years ago. I think Saudara Samuel will know. And just small story. During my sekolah menengah times, our classmates, we went to Singapore. At that time, 95 cents Malaysian can get $1 Singapore dollar. Sekarang berapa? Singapore apa pun tak ada. Kami kui pun boa. Tiup. Semua kui都没有，是不是？ Apa pun tak ada Singapore, apa dia ada? Tanah pun tak ada. Air pun kena beli daripada kita. Tapi sekarang dia punya $1. Sorry. Excuse me, what?
The EPF money which was taken from us, they give back to us.
They may give back, they may not give back. You know why? Because if we take over, we don't want them to talk anything. We take over, okay? So that you don't have to ask that questions. It's a very important question which I don't have answer now. Okay, sekarang $1 Sing dollar 2.5 ringgit I was heard. I was told. Huh? I was told. Correct, huh? Malu lah. All because of poor management. All because of the pirates, the thieves are sitting in Putrajaya. Can we change them? Ubah! Ini kalilah. Lain kalilah baru bagi dia chance. Ini kalilah bagi barisan Pakatan Rakyat. Pakatan Rakyat. Ya, okey. Kawan-kawan, saya sudah tunggu lama. You pun sudah tunggu lama. Kita tempat ceramah pun bukan sangat selesa. Tetapi you orang datang juga. I want to tell you this. The Barisan Nasional knows that they may be losing elections. That's why they started to give you money. Yes or not? Yes. In the past 56 years, they never give you any single cent. They only rob from you. They use the toll. They increase the prices of every damn thing. They take money from us. But because of Pakatan's challenge, they started to give you money. Correct or not? Yes. So all the uncle, auntie who has taken the Prim 1, Prim 2, you must always remember, because of Pakatan, that's why they start to give you. Correct or not? Itu betul ya, bukan cakap bohong, memang tak ada dulu. Even the taxi drivers, dulu ada kasih tayar enggak? Sekarang kita kasih tayar. Tapi taxi driver bukan mau minta tayar lah, dia minta permit individual, betul? So they started to give money. After giving money, then they don't see a big impact, but they see a little bit of impact lah. So they continue to give money. Still don't work. So what they do? They start to give dinners. They dare not organize any ceramahs. Have you seen any single Barisan Nasional ceramah so far? No. How many days after elections, after the campaign? This is how many days already? More than 1 week, huh? No ceramah. Sebab apa? Kalau dia buat ceramah, dia pun tahu tak ada orang datang. So dia buat dinner. Dinner mula-mula ada orang. Mula-mula orang. Tapi makan balik. Dia pun malu. Keep thinking for yourself, because there's no makan, no minum. Mineral water pun tak bagi. Bagi speaker saja tengok. Tapi you datang juga, tepukan kepada sendiri. Ini betul si Cang Samual. Lepas itu, saya tinggal cerita. Dia pakai kita punya wang, One Malaysia punya wang. Dia buat One Malaysia dinner. Tetapi bila you sampai sana, bukan One Malaysia. Memang Barisan Nasional. Bukan One Malaysia. Dibuat, dia masuk itu lucky draw. Lucky draw. Macam-macam dia bagi, so that the people don't run away. Tapi nampaknya itu pun tak jadi. Orang tunggu itu lucky draw saja. Bila dia cakap, orang di sana pun cakap. Nobody can hear what they say. Hey, big hands for our Malaysians, because the Kebangakitan. People know they are talking nonsense, why should they listen? Correct or not? Just like the manifesto. Do you bother to read their manifesto? Don't waste time, because they tiru kita punya. Kita cakap 20 meter cube free water, sudah laksana 5 tahun, sekarang baru dia cakap 20 meter cube juga.
Minum pun tak cukup.
Dia tiru pun tak pandai.
Minum pun tak cukup.
Minum pun tak cukup. So, they started to do this, but still don't work. And now recently, they have just launched, yesterday, they have just launched the 30th political tactics in the world. How? For whoever, they use the underworld people. But they call me underworld, bloody hell. They use the underworld people to approach all the gamblers. You pay 100 ringgit. If Barisan Nasional wins, we will pay you 1,000 ringgit. That means they are using 900 per person to buy one vote. Am I right? Yes. We are worried actually. I know all of you are good people. If you want the money, you know you don't get the money from there. You work hard, you do business. Correct or not? Yes. You don't want that kind of dirty money, yes or not? Yes. But there are people who are not so, don't understand politics or apolitical. They don't know what's the difference between, they thought Lim Kee Siang is from MCA. You know that kind of people? There are people who like that, huh? Dia ingat dia Lim Kee Siang itu MCA punya leader. Ada orang macam tu. They may go and gamble, and because they want that 1,000 ringgit, they may vote for Barisan Nasional, thinking that that is nothing, or thinking that that would not affect the result. But please mind you, it will affect the result. I was the victim of such tactics in my first election in Petaling Jaya Utara. Everybody saying Ronnie Liu is going to win, but eventually we lost narrowly because of a lot of gamblers, and our supporters are the gamblers. who took the money and voted against us, thinking that others would not do it, thinking that that would not affect the result. This is very serious. That's why, but if you really ask me, if you don't fall into this money trap, gambling, we are going to win Putrajaya. Even with the random voters, I'm telling you. You know why? Because manusia lebih daripada hantu. I bagi contoh, I'm not so sure about KL. For Selangor, because we have done an exercise, door-to-door exercise. We have about slightly more than 2 million voters this time for Selangor alone. 2 million. Out of the 2 million voters, about 600,000 are new voters. And out of the 600,000, there are about 130,000 cannot be traced. We call them hantu. Because you cannot trace them. You go to the factory, you go to the house, you knock on the doors, orang ini tak tinggal sini. Ataupun ini bukan pekerja saya. So, we have only about 130,000. If we can make sure all the manusia undi Pakatan, only the hantu, only the barisan, who's going to win? Yes, going to win. So, but whatever it is, we have to do something like this. Whoever employs some orang asing, pekerja asing, please give jobs to them on Sunday. Let them work. Don't let them go out of the work. Can you do that? Can you do that? Kalau you tauke ya, ataupun kawan you tauke, ask them to give jobs, extra jobs. Because some of these pekerja asing, they already taken money quietly, and then they already got the IC, special IC to vote. So, why? It's not going to rain, right? Mari kita doa bersama-sama, jangan hujan lagi. Okay, kawan-kawan, dalam masih ada tempat boleh masuk. Kalau hujan, kalau tidak hujan tak apa. Kawan-kawan yang saya hormati, I am very optimistic about the coming elections if every one of us perform our duty. Okay, orang yang undi bukan saja undi, you keluar undi, lepas tu you make sure your friends all undi. Can you do that? SMS or call them up. If so happen that their cars ke, sudah rosak ke apa ke, pergi angkat dia. Boleh? Angkat dia. Kalau you tahu ada jiran, orang tua, jalan pun susah, sebab dia anak tak ada ke apa ke, kita bawa dia pergi undi. Boleh ke tak boleh? We have to do all that. I don't know about the pacha. You know, the polling agents, counting agents, please sacrifice some of your time to be trained so that you can help Nurul to win. We all want Nurul to win for the second time. Why? Because a lot of people, including me, in my mind, Nurul is a material for future Prime Minister. Betul tak? Real material. Real material. Kalau sebab itu Syarifah tak berani lawan kali ini, betul tak? And then siapa lawan sekarang? Nong Cik. Siapa Nong Cik sebelum jadi politician?
Tak tahu.
Some say billionaire, but I know lah, very rich. Very rich. He's one of those who benefited from the unfair, unjust system, economic system in Malaysia. Do you agree? Yes. Sebab dia orang ada connection. Semua dia dapat. Dia kawan baik siapa? Si Najib. Sebab Najib jadi Prime Minister, dia balik, dia pulang jadi politician. Dia siang-siang seorang politician sebelum jadi billionaire. He lie low in politics. You know that? Then because his good friend jadi Prime Minister, he comes back as a senator. Dia tak pergi lawan, betul? Dia jadi senator. Siapa bagi dia jadi senator? Kawan dia lah. Jadi senator, lepas tu jadi menteri. Betul? Orang ini dia sudah untung banyak. Sekarang lagi mau untung banyak lagi. Dia mau matikan kita punya future Prime Minister. Are we going to allow him to do that? No! But he's using a lot of money, I heard.
Yes.
I heard he's giving a lot of hampers. A lot of money.
Daughter got 300 million contract.
But all these are money from us, from the Rakyat. So if you take the money, what happened to the vote? Pakatan Rakyat. Please give yourself big hands. You have to do that. Don't allow this Nong-Chik fellow to win. I come here today because I've been going around the country here and there. At first I thought our Nurul is very safe. But if I ask you now, you will say still very safe lah. Is Nurul still very safe? But very soft lah. But what I heard from outside is 50-50.
Boleh pantai dalam lah.
Maybe I don't come from this area, but I got the win. I was in Taiping last night. Taiping very safe. Big hand for Taiping people. Taiping very safe. They say this Nurul 50-50. If you can spend one night, so I say okay, I come tonight to try to get at least one vote. You know, in elections sometimes the majority can be only one vote. It happened to Dr. Tan Yew. Wow, Bachtia, big hands for Dr. Bachtia. Tan Yew, one vote. So every vote counts. So even you got headache, you got chiri pere of the day, you still must come out to vote. Can you do that? Yes. Even Tiger Lazy, you break your one arm, also you must come out to vote. Can? Yes. Because every vote counts. Every vote counts. Nurul cannot give you the hampers. Nurul cannot give you the money. Nurul cannot even give you a Kongqin Sui mineral water in the Ceramah. But you please vote for her. Because she's our future Prime Minister. I don't know how soon. I don't know how soon. So we have to make her win, okay? This is very, very important. And Lembah Pandai was never easy last time. I want to take a little bit of credit. I was one of those who helped to convince Saudara Anwar Ibrahim to allow Nurul Huda to fight in Lembah Pandai in 2008. I was one of those, encouraged. Because at that time, somehow, I believe only Nurul, not many people, at that time, only Nurul from Keadilan can beat Sharizat. And that was proven correct because of you. Terima kasih kepada semua orang sini. And Nurul has been performing very well. Very well. So I know what you want to do. I don't have to spend too much time here because there are so many prominent speakers. Our Sivarasah, the big guy also here. Big hand for Sivarasah. So I heard Ambiga will come, Nurul will come. So I have to go to Port Klang and the Taman Gembira. I say, before I end, I just want to say this, okay? There's a lot of scandals in this country. Datuk Sri has said that after the elections, after taking over the Putrajaya, we want to make sure they return the money to the rakyat. And we need to do that because our national debt has already exceeded 600 billion, okay? And according to Rafizi, they already slowly, quietly, I think he has already the police report that under 1 MDB, have you heard of 1 MDB? According to Rafizi Ramli, the young man who exposed the Sharizat scandal, the cow gate, right? He said quietly 7 billion under 1 MDB already stashed in a secret account in Cayman Island. Where the hell is Cayman Island? Siapa ada pergi Cayman Island? But whether it is, our 7 billion already transferred there. So we need to win this kerajaan pusat to bring back all this dirty money and then halalkan so that we can for the people. Okay? Let me do that. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Terima kasih. Sesi saja. Nandri. Wanakkam. Ini kalilah. Ini kalilah. Ini kalilah. Ubah. 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 Nandri wanakkam.
Terima kasih kepada Encik Saudara Ronnie Liu. Tolong berikan tepukan gemuruh kepada Saudara Ronnie Liu. Seterusnya saya ingin menjemputkan calon Parlimen Subang, Saudara Tuan Sivarasah, dipersilakan.
Terima kasih kepada pengacara majlis kita. Saya minta maaf, saya mesti betulkan dia sedikit. Nama saya bukan Tuan Sivarasah. Saya harap saya boleh dirujuk kepada Saudara Sivarasah. Cukup. Rakan-rakan penceramah, Mr. Samuel Raj, Tiru, Mr. Vijay, Mr. Bachtia, semua pemimpin Pakatan Rakyat yang hadir, dan yang penting sekali, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian, selamat malam, salam sejahtera, salam reformasi, tacha wang sang hao, priorgale, tair margale, sahodara-sahodara ungal anarakam yang mana maranda, mana kanggale terwiti kolkendren. Saya ucap terima kasih atas jemputan yang diberi kepada saya untuk berceramah pada malam ini di sini. Thank you very much for the invitation, and jemputan telah beri saya peluang sekali lagi untuk datang ke Tmn Tan Yew Lai. Saya datang lebih kurang 2 minggu dulu kan, 2 minggu dulu di sini, dan dapat datang sekali lagi. Saya minta ucap lebih awal sebab lepas ini saya terpaksa terus balik ke kawasan saya, Subang, sebab Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, bakal Perdana Menteri kita, adalah dalam perjalanan daripada Sabah. He's on his way. Dia akan sampai ke Subang Airport dan lepas itu terus ke kawasan Pai Jaras di tapak pasar malam. This is on the old Jalan Keluar Selangor Road, dekat di ME Camp. The pasar malam is on the left hand side. Yeah, Sungai Buloh, kawasan Sungai Buloh, Pai Jaras lah. Yeah, dia akan sampai lebih kurang 9:30 ataupun pukul 10 dan beri ceramah beliau di sana. And after that he will move to Setiawangsa in KL. So for those of you who want to catch him tonight, who you have not heard Anwar Ibrahim tonight, this is one of the opportunities you will have, one of his speeches in the Klang Valley. As you know, he has to, of course, he's defending Permatang Pau, but as the future Prime Minister of this country, he has to lead the campaign all over the country. And so he spent yesterday and today in Sabah, and is coming back. And of course, the next 7 days he'll be moving all over. So please come, yeah, to Pai Jaras if you have the time tonight. Now, I wish to just share some thoughts with you today about the mood in the country. I think you know the issues. I don't think I have to repeat the issues to you. We all know what we want. Are we ready for change? Yes! Are we ready for change? Yes! Okay. And what is that change? Do we want to take UMNO Barisan Nasional out of Putrajaya? Yes! We want to pension them, right? Yes! Give them a rest. Yes. Yeah. Without pension. You probably want to send them to jail, right? Okay. Anyway, our objective this 5th of May is to give Najib Tun Razak a new job. What's the new job? Leader of the opposition, correct. Ketua Pembangkang. Boleh? Tapi dengan syarat, there's one condition. He has to win the seat of Pekan first, right? Kalau dia kalah sana, what do we do? Mongolia. We will create a special position, special envoy to Mongolia. You know, speaking of Mongolia, those of you who read Malaysia Kini, you know the story, but I'll tell it for the rest of you who don't. It's quite funny, but it also tells us about our election process. You know, in Kuching, Sarawak, our DAP colleagues there, as part of their campaign, have put up billboards. You know, like we put up billboards with messages here. So one of the several of the billboards has the picture of Altan Tuya, and it asks the question, a very serious question. It says, siapa bunuh Altan Tuya? Siapa C4 Altan Tuya? We want justice. You know, and that's the thing. So the billboards were put up. Guess what happened? What did the SPR do? SPR say, perintah, keluarkan perintah, semua billboard ini mesti diturunkan. Especially the billboard which was put up on the way from the airport, because Najib Tun Razak cannot be allowed to see the billboard. But you know what is the funniest thing? You know what is the reason the SPR gave for directing the DAP, our Pakatan Rakyat colleagues, to take down the billboard? The alasan, and this is a serious alasan they gave. They said, Altan Tuya bukan calon dalam pilihan raya. Can you imagine? This is the mentality of the SPR. Altan Tuya bukan calon dalam pilihan raya. So this shows you what we are up against. It's a fair message. It's a strong message, I agree, but it's a fair comment. There are so many questions. Ada banyak soalan tentang pembunuhan Altan Tuya. Semua tahu. Kita tahu dua anggota polis, Corporal Nurul dan Chief Inspector Azila, yang sekarang telah disabitkan, convicted, sabitkan dan dihukum dengan hukuman mati dan tunggu rayuan mereka di penjara, hanya adalah alat yang digunakan untuk membunuh. They are just the gun that was used to shoot her. The question is, who pulled the trigger? That is the question. You don't need to have a law degree to understand that, right? All of us understand that. It's common sense, correct or not? But apparently this common sense is not so common in our police force, and not so common in our AG's chambers, and also not so common in our judiciary, because they all don't want to ask the question. Dari awal sampai akhir perbicaraan, soalan ini tidak dibenarkan ditanya, was not allowed to be asked. I mean, if any of us here is appointed as the investigator for the case, that is the first question you will know. You have to find the answer, because you know these two guys were just directed to kill her. And not just to kill her, they were directed to kill her in a particular way, which is what? C4. That's why the billboard said, who C4? Altan Tuya. Who asked her to be C4? There was a reason for her, obviously, to be blown to bits. There was a reason. I don't want to give the reason. I don't want to assume the reason. But any investigator, police investigator, any lawyer from the deep ages chambers must know that it's a fair question to ask. But the question was never asked. We get some hint of an answer. I'm not saying that's the answer. We get some hint of the answer when we read the statement that Corporal Nurul gave to the police investigators. His section 112 statement, which you can read in the internet, which was never produced in court. And that statement says, he describes it, and he's the guy who killed her. He said, Altan Tuya begged for her life, saying she was pregnant. Correct. You read it, yeah. So that gives some hint as to why not only was she killed, but the body was intended to be destroyed completely. And the only way you can do that is C4. Now, I don't know whether you got ex-soldiers here or ex-army people, you will know how almost impossible it is to get something like C4 in this country. It's virtually impossible. Do you know in this country, even if you have a bullet without a permit, you can be charged in court and hung in this country. You don't need to have a gun, just bullets. Those days, Nalla Karapan was charged under the Firearms Act and all those laws for that. He had bullets, unlicensed bullets sitting in the back of his safe in the house. So that is the law in this country. But somebody can get C4. We welcome Dato' Ambiga Srinivasan, the leader of BERSIH. Welcome, Ambiga. And whilst she sits down, let me tell you, some of you may know this, but some of you may not. Dato' Ambiga gives talks all over the country. And when she has spoken to in more rural areas, what she is known as by some of the Tamil folks in this country. You know what they call her? Irambu Penmani. You know what Irambu Penmani means? The Iron Lady. That is, don't you think that fits her? The Iron Lady. Give her a big hand. So, Lady Margaret Thatcher cannot compare to our Iron Lady. Okay. Now, where was I? I was telling you about C4. So, the billboard, as far as I'm concerned, as I said, strong comment but fair comment, because the issue has not been solved. I told you just now about Corporal Cirul's 112 statement. Now I just tell you 2-3 more quick things to show why that issue it still haunts Najib and also haunts Rosma. And one day we will find out the truth. We will find out the very basic question, simple question that has been asked, never answered. Who directed these 2 police officers to kill Altan Tuya? And this is what Najib and Rosma have to answer, but still have not had to answer, which is this, 2 points. Do you know, on the 19th of October 2006, this is the night Altan Tuya was killed. In front of Razak Baginda's house, in Bukit Damansara. She was there, she came, P.I. Bala was there, and P.I. Bala tells the story, which is his, may he rest in peace. This story is in his sworn statement, the first SD, which he has sworn on the Bhagavad Gita is the truth. Now, P.I. Bala said this, he said before the 3 police officers, Corporal Cirul, Azila and the lady police officer came to take Altan Tuya away, 10 minutes before that, there was a blue Proton car, drove by slowly in front of the house. So a Malay man was driving, the glass was down, the man was looking, surveying the area slowly and went off. 10 minutes before the policeman came and took her away. At that time, of course, he recognized the face. He's a private investigator, so he remembers faces. He's a former policeman. But he didn't know who the man was. Now then you know the story. P.I. Bala then did his SD later in 2008, then left the country, and he was in India. Now in India, he had a lot of time, spent a lot of time on the internet. Then in 2011, early 2011, he saw the same face of that man in the internet. That man had made a racist speech in Malacca, where he said the Chinese brought, as immigrants came to this country and sold their daughters as prostitutes, and he insulted the Indians as well. Do you remember that man? Yes. His name is Nasir Safa. Do you know who he was at that point in time? He was Najib's personal special officer for 20 years when he made that speech. He had to resign after that from that job. But the question that he has to answer, Nasir Safa has to answer, and before I say that, so Nasir Safa, so P.I. Bala then wrote about it in the internet. It says that man is the man. Nasir Safa is the man. Reporters went up to Nasir Safa and asked him, can you call to comment? Because P.I. Bala says you are the guy. You know what Nasir Safa's answer was? No comment. He didn't deny. He said no comment. So nobody has been able to ask Nasir Safa. You would have thought the police should ask Nasir Safa. Were you there? I asked the question in Parliament. I asked the Home Minister to answer the question. Simple question. Can you confirm whether Nasir Safa was the man in front of Raza Baginda's house on the night Altan Tuya was taken away and killed? They refused to answer. So that tells you what's happening. The second connection. In the trial and in other evidence, we know that Cirul and Azila were in communication, phone communication, with a senior police officer called DSP Musa Safiri. Who is DSP Musa Safiri? Does anybody know? Najib's ADC, aide de camp. Aide de camp means you're the senior police officer attached directly to the Prime Minister and you're with him all the time. You're his permanent staff. That is Najib's ADC. So what are the two killers doing in constant communication with Najib's ADC on the night of the murder? Now, all of you, if any of you were the investigators in the police investigating team, don't you think you want to take a statement from Musa Safiri? Yes. Don't you think you want to take a statement from Nasir Safa? Yes. Don't you think there'll be witnesses in the trial? Yes. Do you think this happened? No. It didn't happen. It cannot happen. It's not allowed to happen. So, my point, ladies and gentlemen, is this. This is why we must change on the 5th of May. We have no choice. We have two laws. One law for the rich and the powerful, and one law for the rest of us. Do we want this to continue? No! We cannot. This country has great potential. This country has potential to be one of the greatest countries in this world. It's rich. Talented people. Hard-working people. We have the greatest cultural wealth of any country in the world. Yes. There's no country in this world can compare. We have the benefit of the Indian civilization. We have the benefit of the Chinese civilization. We have the benefit of the Islamic civilization. And because we were colonized by the British, we also have the benefit of Western civilization. There is no country like this in the world. No country so rich in culture. But what has UMNO Barisan Nasional done with this? Yeah, they make us fight with each other. That's what they do. They say one Malaysia, one Malaysia, one Malaysia, and then they put Zulkifli Nordin as a candidate. This is one Malaysia. Yeah. My Hindu friends here, Indian Tamil friends here will know. Zulkifli Nordin insulted us not once but repeatedly in public speeches. And the Prime Minister knows. He says we pray to stones. He says that Ganges is a filthy river. How can they say it's sacred? And then when P.I. Bala came back this February from overseas, when he arrived at the airport, as I told you earlier, P.I. Bala took out his Bhagavad Gita and he swore. He said, the first SD is the truth. You know what Zulkifli Nordin did in a speech 1 week later? He used this kind of language. He said, ini bodoh keling. Dia buat sumpah dengan buku dia. Macam mana boleh banding dengan sumpah oleh Najib dengan Quran. Bodoh keling. This is Zulkifli Nordin. And this is the man Najib Tun Razak thinks is worthy to be UMNO Barisan Nasional's parliament candidate, inshallah. This is one Malaysia. Okay. Great. So this is what we must do. We must show UMNO Barisan Nasional. We reject their management of this country this last 56 years. We do not want any more. We do not want one more day of UMNO Barisan Nasional on the 5th of May. Can we do that? Yes. Now, how do we do that? All of you who are registered to vote, please raise your hands. Okay, a lot of you are here. This is your power. The power of the vote. Just now, Ronnie told the example of what the two, Tan Jikun winning by 2 votes. Don't ever think, and I'm sure Ambiga is going to repeat this to you, but I'll say, don't ever think your one vote is not important. It's important. Every vote counts. The example of Tan Jikun is one. I'll give you another example. In 2004, some of you may remember, the state government of Kelantan stayed in PAS hands. 1 seat. That's right. They had a majority of 1 state seat in the state assembly, and that 1 state seat was won by 2 votes. So, in other words, the PAS government stayed in power because of 2 votes. 2 undi saja sudah kekalkan PAS sebagai presiden. So, jangan ingat Jangan fikir undi saya tak penting. Saya tak mau balik untuk undi. Tak, jangan fikir. Semua mesti balik untuk undi di mana-mana tempat. Kalau jauh, jangan tunggu hari Ahad. You kena balik lebih awal. Leave early, go back. Hari itu ada orang yang bagi tahu saya, ramalan cuaca adalah bad weather, thunderstorms the whole day. So you have to prepare. Don't leave it late. Everybody come out early. Semua mesti keluar undi. Boleh janji? Okay. Ini kuasa kita. This is our power. We use that power to show UMNO Barisan Nasional the slogan of UMNO which they repeated many times, iaitu apa? Dulu, kini, selama-lamanya, lagi tak boleh pakai lepas 5 hari bulan Mei. Boleh? We have to save Malaysia. We save Malaysia. And we bring a new era from the 5th of May under Pakatan Rakyat. We create a new future for ourselves. Can we do that? Yes! For our children and our children's children. We will do that together on the 5th of May. Ladies and gentlemen, satu permintaan akhir. Selangor, wilayah, kita tahu sokongan ada. Tetapi kita juga tahu untuk keluarkan UMNO Barisan Nasional daripada Putrajaya, kita mesti menang kerusi di Sabah, di Sarawak, di Johor, di Perak dan Terengganu dan beberapa negeri lagi. We have to do that. So, today, I have the mandate of Pakatan Rakyat. I want to say today to all of you, can you please become agents of Pakatan Rakyat, agents of information. You must communicate to people, okay? Why? Because our voice is not allowed in TV3, RTM, radio, nothing. So we have how many more days left of campaign? We have 6 more days from tomorrow. So please call. Do you have friends and family in Johor? Yes. Sabah, Sarawak? Yes. I'm sure all of you have. Call them, talk to them. Tell them we have to change this country together. And they must help us do it. Alright? So can we work together to do that next 6 days? Yes. And together on the 5th of May, ladies and gentlemen, we make history. We throw UMNO Barisan Nasional out. We make Anwar Ibrahim the next Prime Minister. Yes? Ini kalilah. Ini kalilah. Ini kalilah.
Terima kasih kepada saudara R. Sivarasah. Seterusnya saya ingin menyemput saudara Tiru Kumar untuk beliau memberi 2 batang kata.
Selamat petang, selamat sejahtera saudara-saudari sekalian. Good evening to all of you. Anevarukkum malai vanakkam. Tacha how? It's so great, isn't it, that we can announce every single language. You know, everybody speaking every language now. That is the Malaysia that we have been waiting for. You know, 13 years ago, for the last 13 years, untuk 13 tahun yang lalu, sebelum itu saya minta maaf sebab saya, bahasa Malaysia saya tidak begitu fasih. So kalau ada apa-apa kesalahan, saya minta maaf. 13 tahun dahulu saya di Australia, saya mengajar di sana di sebuah universiti. Dan baru saya balik untuk untuk bersama-sama bawa perubahan kepada negara kita. Saya berdiri di sini bukan sebagai ahli mana-mana parti Pakatan Rakyat, tak sempat masa lagi lah untuk pilih ya. Tapi definitely Pakatan Rakyat ya. So I'm standing here not as an Indian boy, not as a, okay, I'm standing here as an anak bangsa Malaysia. And you know, we need to give a big hand to our warriors who are standing here in Pakatan Rakyat. Dato' Ambiga is here. Mr. Samuel Raj has been campaigning for the rights of people for many, many decades. See, here's the thing. There were 2 inspirations. Ada 2 orang yang inspire saya untuk pulang. Okay? And both these people are women. One of them is Dato' Ambiga here. The other is the representative and the person who will be the next representative for Lembah Pantai, YB Nurul Izzah. Now, why did they inspire me? Kenapa mereka, menginspirekan saya? They inspired me because ini bukan perjuangan yang mereka perlu lawan. They don't have to berjuang for us. They are doing it because they want to. They are doing it. They are going beyond what they have to do for us, not for themselves. And that is courage. That is something that none of the Barisan Nasional people have today. This courage, okay, ini adalah keberanian, that when you look at Dato' Ambiga, she's not an Indian woman sitting here. She is not an Indian woman. She is a Malaysian woman. When you look at Nurul Izzah, she's not a Malay woman. She's a Malaysian woman. And she's fighting for every single Malaysian. Dia berjuang untuk semua orang di Malaysia. Then what is our government done for Dato' Ambiga? Dia tak anugerah. They send people to shake their butt. Tapi America can recognize her courage and give her an award. Shame on our government. Malu, memalukan. Orang di Australia tanya saya, why? The Americans know your great warriors, your country doesn't know. Malu lah, I've got to say what to do. Hopefully we change the government the next time. You know what I mean? What also angered me is, and before that, தமிழர்களுக்கு, இந்தியர்களுக்கு, தமிழ் தெரிந்தவர்களுக்கு, பாரதி சொன்ன புதுமை பெண் Dato' Ambigaவும் Nurul Izzahவும். In Tamil we have a great poet by the name of Subramania Bharati, and he wrote, he was an activist. He was a very outspoken critic of women being treated badly. He spoke for women to be courageous, women to lead society. And these women have broken the shackles of, whatever it is this government has imposed and stood in the forefront for us Malaysians. They have defined Malaysia. Barisan, Tun Mahathir says, okay, bigger firecrackers on 5th of May, huh? A big hand for Dato', our wifey. Sorry. Okay. I'll make it very quick, sebab there are more esteemed people to speak. I'll make it very quick. The Prime Minister says that, Barisan Nasional says, kita perlu bagi mereka nambikai. Nambikai in Tamil, it's a Tamil word, it means trust, kepercayaan. Mereka kata kita perlu bagi kepercayaan kita kepada kerajaan Barisan Nasional. I say no, because first you need to learn to give the people maryade, which is respect. If the government, they are not fit to be the government if they only use racial politics, fanatical politics, and they try to divide the people. Pakatan Rakyat is a party for every Malaysian, black, brown, yellow, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever your background is. And this is the kind of Malaysia that is going to be good for our future. Our future. Right now, Barisan Nasional says, UMNO represents the Malays. UMNO berjuangkan semua untuk orang Melayu. MIC berjuang untuk orang India. MCA berjuang untuk orang Cina. Itu BS. Okay? Itu BS. Dia hanya berjuang untuk pocket mereka. Okay? Mereka, yes, kroni mereka dan pocket mereka. Alright, so let's not believe that. Sebab, if MIC was really for the Indians, when Najib announced that Zulkifli Nordin akan berwakili BN di Shah Alam, MIC should have walked out. Instead, we got an MIC leader, or MIC தலைவர் சொல்றாரு, நான் முருகன் கிட்ட சொல்லிட்டேன், முருகன் வந்து punish பண்ணுவாரு. The MIC leader said, I've complained to Lord Muruga, he will punish. So the question is, in these elections, do we vote for you or Lord Muruga? It's a joke. Mereka bagi kita RM500, okay? After 30 years of squandering the nation, mereka ambil, billions and billions of ringgit. Then they say, okay, you know what? We are panicking now because there are some really powerful leaders going to take over this country. So maybe we should just bribe the people because they love bribes, Mereka suka ini.